Hi.
Hello, everybody. All right. Welcome to our third live Q&A show for Epic Photo Ops. This is Tatiana Wolf. She's the operations manager for Canada. And I'm Al Deldegan. I'm the head photographer and the social media guy for Canada. Well, I guess social media guy for Epic Photo Ops in general, but whatever. So we're here today to answer your questions. Feel free to type in the little box on the side, and we'll answer your questions. In the meantime, I'm going to pass the floor to Tatiana, and she's going to start talking about the process in general for people who haven't been to Epic Photo Ops before. There's a few conventions coming up pretty quick here, and it'd be good to go through the process from start to finish so that you are well prepared to get the most ideal epic photo of all time with your favorite guests. So Tatiana, take it away.
Yeah, so this is more for those that have never had a photo op either with us or potentially with somebody else, or have had it somewhere else and the process is completely different. So I'm going to just walk you through the entire process. So first of all, you obviously have to buy your ticket. So you can purchase your ticket either online up to 1 hour before the start of that particular photo op. So if we have 5 guests, say Bruce Boxleitner, William Shatner, and you want to get a photo op for Bruce Boxleitner, then you can purchase it online up to 1 hour before the session for him starts. If you want to, you can also purchase it up to the start of the photo op session with cash at the convention. Now, we'll be talking about 2 upcoming conventions. One is Denver Comic-Con, and the other one is Montreal Comic-Con. For Montreal Comic-Con, we will only be accepting cash on site. And for the same thing for Denver. So just be aware that we only take cash on site at our conventions currently. We are hoping to change that, and just stay tuned for that. So once you've purchased your photo op ticket, then you will want to arrive in the photo op area, which will be each show will have a program guide, and in the program guide there will be a map, and the map will show you where the photo ops area is. You can also always ask a volunteer at the show where the photo ops area is. Plus, there'll be really big signs up saying, hey, photo ops here.
It's hard to miss. It's not a small area.
No, it's not. So show up about 15 minutes before the time on your photo op ticket. You can also opt in for an SMS notification at any time. That means when you sign up for the SMS notification, we will send out an SMS to your phone saying, hey, maybe you should come and line up now. And that's a really, really good feature. We encourage you to take advantage of that, just because it does take a bit of the pressure off you remembering, oh, I got to check my watch all the time. You just have to make sure that your phone you can hear your phone easily.
And your battery's not dead.
Yeah. So 15 minutes before the time on your ticket, show up, and then you'll be sorted into your groups. We have our photo op sessions for the popular guests. We subdivide into smaller group times, much like the airport, the zones, zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, zone 4. So we have group 1, 2, 3, and 4. So just show up and show your ticket to the line control person, and they will sort you into whichever line that you need to go into. Make sure that you're not late, because some guests, they're there for an hour, and other guests are there for 2 minutes, like literally 2 minutes, right? So if you show up 5 minutes late, that guest might already be gone. So just don't be late, but also at the same time, don't be massively early. The reason that we ask that you don't be earlier than 15 minutes is because we have a very, very limited space that we can put you in. So we don't have a lot of line space. If you show up a half an hour or an hour early, then we do ask you to come back 15 minutes before the time on your ticket. So just remember, 15 minutes is the magic number. Then it's best for you to have your ticket ready. Once the line starts moving, have your ticket ready. Because once the line starts moving, it moves really fast. And we've had it many, many times where people are scrambling for their ticket right there for the check-in person, and it tends to back things up a bit, right? And oftentimes we don't have a lot of time to get through everybody, especially again for the very popular guests, right? So make sure that you have your ticket ready once the line starts moving. If you have a smartphone and you have your ticket on the smartphone, we can scan from that, but make sure to have the brightness up.
I just want to add one piece there. For the really popular guests, we don't oversell. We allocate enough slots so that we can get everybody done in a reasonable amount of time. And we do allow for a little bit of a slippage buffer there in case somebody's late. But really popular guests, they might have lines of 400 or 500 people. So that line's going to go very, very quickly. And if the guest does show up extremely late for some reason, then things can get really tight. So anything you can do to help out with that by having your ticket ready makes things go smoother, and you'll have a much more pleasant experience.
Yep. So then once you have your ticket scanned, you come into the back check area. Now we're currently changing our system up a little bit. We used to use tables that you'd put your things on and then it get moved down. Now we're using shelves with little cubicles in them. So you can just take your things and put them in one of the little cubicles. Then you go into the photo op area where you should have your pose ready even before you get into the booth. So if you can think of something fun or something awesome and you can explain it in a couple of words, or even if you need to, you can show it. If you have a picture of it, like your friends got together and did the pose together, you took a picture on your smartphone, then show that to the guests real quick, put the phone away again, because we're not allowed to have phones really in the photo op area. You're not allowed to do video or photography in the photo op area, because there are official photographers there and it's not fair to everybody else. So make sure that you don't take pictures and you don't take videos in the photo op area, please. So then once you have your pose thought out, it's your turn to get to the guest. Then you stand next to them, you show them what the pose you want. If you don't have a pose, that's fine too. They're happy to just put their arm around you and smile. You get your photo taken. Sometimes you only have about 7 seconds for it, just because guests are very popular. So don't be disappointed if you don't get a lot of time with them, because it isn't a Q&A, right? So, and they do want to get through as many people as possible.
Yeah. And just because you have this awesome pose prepared does not mean the guest will be willing to do it. You can, as you're coming into the booth, you can kind of watch other people and see whether you're going to have a good chance of doing your pose or not. But some guests, it's literally just a fist bump and then smile, and then that's it, you're done. And has nothing to do with us. That has to do with the guest specifically.
Yeah, and we usually try to let you know ahead of time if there are restrictions on things. If a guest, they might be sick and they don't want to spread germs to other people. That's one of the reasons that they don't do it. Or they might have just recovered from something and you might have something and they don't want to catch that. So, just be aware of that, but we will try to let you know ahead of time if there are restrictions on poses, or, just no handshakes or whatever. We'll touch base on that a little bit later on. I just want to get through this walkthrough. Okay. So once you have your shot taken, don't forget to pick up your items again. It hasn't happened. Well, I shouldn't say it hasn't ever happened. It happened once where somebody forgot to pick up their items. But in general, just make sure when you come back out, grab your things and then follow the little labyrinth that we have. And it is a little labyrinth sometimes. But we do have lots of signs up again with arrows saying, hey, go this way. And you'll end up coming up to the pickup tables. I'll let you talk a bit about the pickup tables.
Yeah. So basically, once the photographer pushes the button on the camera, 45 seconds or so later, your 8x10 photo will be sitting on the pickup tables at the end of the labyrinth that Tatiana hinted at. So what we'll do is at the end of the lines, before you get to the pickup table, there'll be a sign that says, "Stop, please wait for to be called." The print runners will be taking the prints off the printers and they'll either hold them up or put them down on the table, depending on how busy it is. Once you see your picture, then you can leave the line, grab your picture, and leave. It's really important that you have your ticket and your photograph so that when you leave, you can scan out. And what happens when you scan out is the person with the scanner will scan the photograph and they'll scan your ticket. And when the computer matches the two of those up, then it will send your email digital photo if you purchased one, or start printing your reprint or not reprint, extra copy, extra print. If you don't scan out, then your copy won't be emailed to you, and your extra prints, if you have any, won't be printed. And it causes obviously a backup because you're going to have to go to customer service and say, I didn't get my photo, I didn't get my print, blah, blah, blah. So make sure you follow the process. We've designed the process to be as efficient as possible, but you have to do your part, and you have to follow the signs and the guidance of the volunteers.
Something I want to add into there. If you're at the pickup table and you have your picture in hand, if it's not to your satisfaction, let us know. Don't think that, okay, now that it's been printed, there's nothing you can do about it. Let us know immediately. If for whatever reason that you're not happy with that photo, let us know. We will take you back and have a retake taken. Just so that if you're not happy, we try to our very, very best strive for an epic experience for you. So that also includes the quality of the photo. So if you find that your smile is a little crooked, or you felt that you were rushed and it's just not 100% the way you want it, let us know right away. We have no issue taking you back and taking a retake.
Provided the guest is still there.
Yes. So this is why it's really important that you let us know right away. After that, as Al was already saying, we'll check you out. Once you've checked out, the digital will come to you immediately on your phone or on your email address, wherever. And then you can pick up your extra print at the reprint station. Now, if you, for some reason, forgotten to purchase a digital copy or an extra print, like if there's four of you in the party, and each one of you wants a photo of their own, that's the exact same copy of the post that you took, then if for whatever reason you forgot to purchase that for the extra $10, you can do that before the photo op with any of the cashiers or after the photo op at the reprint station. And that's it for the walkthrough. So does anybody have any questions so far? We haven't gotten any questions yet, so feel free to ask questions anytime you want. I will pass this on to there was one question. Do photo ops come with autographs?
So the answer is no. The convention themselves have us doing photo ops, and the convention themselves handles the autographs with the agents and the guests. We're actually completely independent and separate, and 99% of the time you're paying the autographs to the convention, and you're paying the Epic Photo prices to us. So there's really no ties whatsoever. We do not allow autographs in the booths with the guests,
there's just no time for it too, and no time. There's always a cost associated with the autograph, just like there's a cost associated with the photo ops. Yeah. Now, having said that, sometimes a convention will sell packages, but that's what they're selling, and that package may include a photo op and an autograph, but that has nothing to do with us specifically. That just means that we will take the photo, you'll pick up your photo, and then you end up taking it to the autograph, or you'll take it to the specific table where they'll pick it up. Something that I wanted to touch on was refunds. We do refunds. Every convention has its own refund deadline, which is usually 7 days before the start of the convention. This is generally a hard deadline, meaning that once that 7 days, once you're within that 7 days, we tend not to grant refunds. But up to that point, you can request a refund for whatever reason. If a guest cancels, we will automatically refund. It's a little complicated. So the credit card companies, they take about 2 weeks to process refunds. That is nothing that we can do. There's nothing we can do to expedite that or make it faster. That is just the way that the banking banking world works. So they will take up to 2 weeks to process refunds for Visa, MasterCard. American Express might even take so much as 21 days, business days, to even 4 to 6 weeks to process in some cases, depending if you're out of country. If it's a Visa or MasterCard debit, that is usually refunded within a couple of days. So look for the refunds at that point. So having said that, if a guest cancels past like 2 or more weeks out from the convention, we will automatically refund that. But if a guest cancels within that 2 weeks to the convention, then we will give you an option of you can either request a refund now, meaning that we will start it on our end, but it'll still take the credit card companies up to 2 weeks to process that, meaning that you might not have that money available for the convention. Or you will have the option of taking your ticket in the States to the customer service people, and they can exchange it then, or they don't really exchange it. They use it as a credit towards the purchase of other photo ops. But the entire amount needs to be used. We can't do partial refunds on that single ticket. So if you purchased a photo op ticket that's worth $150, then basically you can use it as a credit to purchase photo ops of $150 or more. If you end up spending less than $150, we can't give you that money back, just because we always have to refund in full to the original form of payment. If a guest, that is the only time too that we will do refunds of tickets that haven't been redeemed. That is the other option. If it's a couple of days before the convention, we always send out an email giving you all the options to it. So if it's a couple of days before the convention and a guest cancels unexpectedly due to filming, usually because of filming commitments, then you do get that option of using your ticket as a credit or waiting until the Tuesday after the convention for a refund. The reason that we're saying wait until the Tuesday after the convention is when we start the process, is because that gives you an option of using your ticket as a credit, right? And then it gets automatically refunded and you don't have to do anything. You don't have to ask for it, and it just makes it easier for everybody all around. I think that pretty much covers it. If you guys have any questions on that, let us know.
Yep.
So anything else that you want to cover?
There's in our customer service, usually on Facebook and often on Twitter, we get a lot of people saying, I purchased a such and such shoot with so-and-so, and I still haven't received my ticket, or I still haven't received whatever. What's the most common reason that stuff like that happens?
If you haven't received your ticket, if you've purchased online and you haven't received your ticket, that there's a good chance that you misspelled your email address. That is the number one reason that we found, and it takes a lot of searching on our part to find it. We usually always find it, right? There is the odd time that the purchase did not go through, but then you'll get that. It'll tell you right there and then that, hey, this purchase was declined, and it might give you a reason for it. It might not. We don't know what the reason is why the bank declines it. There's another error message that you sometimes get where it says that your zip code is invalid. That is because you have to use the zip code that is associated with your card. That might not be your home address. I've had lots of people be totally surprised going, yeah, but I've lived at this place for 10 years and this is my zip code. And the bank or the credit card company still had a zip code on file from like 15, 20 years ago. So always, if you get a zip code error, then do call your credit card company. If it's a Visa card or a MasterCard or an American Express or even a Discovery card, then do call the credit card company, not your bank, because the credit card companies and the banks are separate entities. And the credit card company may have a completely different zip code on file for you than the bank does. So make sure to call them and get that from them. And those are the three main reasons why you might not have gotten your ticket. If you did not get your photo in your digital, then again, it could be because your email address was spelled wrong or because you didn't check out. Yeah. Anything else? It's not a Q&A. Photo ops is not a Q&A.
Yeah. Yeah. Do not expect, when you come to photo ops and when you purchase a photo op ticket and you come to photo ops to get your photo op, don't expect anything other than a great photo. Our goal is to produce a beautiful image of you and the guest, or you and your friends and the guest, or you and the guests, however that combination works out. Don't expect to have a long chat. Don't expect the guest to be super friendly. Some of them, they don't want to be touched. They don't want to touch. Some of them are all over friendly touching, and they have a great time, having a good time. If there's a guest that doesn't have a huge lineup, sometimes the time allocated for that guest, the expectation was that they were going to get more people, and they end up having less than expected, and they have lots of time to do their photo op. So in that case, they're like, hey, so what kind of pose do you want to do? Oh yeah, how about this? And and they have a lot of fun with it. And so sometimes when you see the really epic photo ops, like we do the epic photo of the day for every day of every convention, some of those photo ops are fantastic. And I see a lot of the comments are, great, I'm glad you got a nice shot. I was run through there like a herd of cattle, and I didn't even get more than a few seconds with the guest. Well, that's probably because you were with a guest that had a lot of people, like 400 people in line. And in which case it's a few seconds. You get, maybe 7 to 10 seconds to come in, say hello, get your beautiful photo, and then leave. And that's just the way it is. So be prepared to get a great photo and nothing else.
We also, I know that one of the chief complaints is that we yell at people. We don't yell at you. It may sound like we are, but we're actually just raising our voice so that we can be heard. Because once we're in the hall, and we find that when you get into line, when our customers get into line, or the fans get into line, they get starstruck. They see the guests, they get starstruck, they're standing there, right? And sometimes that even happens to some of the staff that we have ushering in, right? Where they're just, they're just so having a good time with people, and they don't necessarily hear right away. So sometimes then it means that we will be raising our voices to get people's attention, right? Yeah. Saying, hey, next. And sometimes we might have to say that really loud or shout it loud, just because there's a lot of ambient noise and it is hard to hear sometimes. So please don't take offense if the photographer is loud and doing the, okay, ready, next, yeah. Because
and keep in mind that the photographer is standing 15 to 20 feet away from the guests who are standing at the front. And there's usually people on both sides chattering away and enjoying themselves and trying to have a great experience. So this photographer is basically at the back of the room trying to get the attention of the people at the front, and they're not paying attention. So generally, as a photographer, we try really hard to be crystal clear and loud enough so that people can hear us. But every once in a while, we're in a room that's very loud. Maybe there's a play area or a video game area right beside us or something, and there's loud music going on.
Or there's the Daleks going on.
Or the Daleks.
501st.
Yeah, or the 501st. Or there's, we have in a lot of conventions, we have multiple photo booths going at the same time. And so if one convention, the photo booth is going right beside and there's something loud going on, maybe there's a bunch of laughing and having a good time in that booth, and in our booth we can't hear, so we have to yell louder. At no time would we ever in a negative way yell at guests to make them feel bad. That's never the intention. We're just trying to make sure that people can hear us. And if you're standing 20 feet away from some people and it seems like they're completely ignoring you, what choice do you have? It's not like you have, a whole bunch of bean bags you can chuck at them to get their attention. All you can do is yell. So it's not yelling at you, it's yelling to get your attention so that we can give you instructions so that things can continue to move smoothly.
Yeah, and I think that's
although bean bags might be a good idea. You could have like a little pot of bean bags.
What about water pistols?
Oh, water pistols.
No water pistols? No water
All
pistols. Right. Okay, our moderator says no water pistols. So I guess no bean bags, no water pistols. Okay. So maybe water balloons. Yeah, that's pretty much all that
we can talk about. We can talk about some of the usual things. Like, for example, if you're in a photo op and you have a book or a DVD or a comic book or a photo of your friend, what happens is the light that we use is on an angle, and we have them up fairly high, and that helps to reduce shadows and glare and all that stuff. But if this plane of the book or the picture is matching the plane of the light exactly, this is going to be one big white square in the photograph. And the same with glasses. If you're looking at the camera and then just before we take the picture, you go, and then the plane of your glasses is matching the light exactly, you're going to have two big white spots for eyes. So what we ask people to do with glasses, you can either just tip them down or you can just tip your head down ever so slightly so that this plane is completely different from that plane. And with magazines, books, etc., we just ask you to tilt them forward ever so slightly. And what happens is the plane is completely different, and then you don't get white, you get a beautiful photo. So that's one thing to keep in mind. The other thing to keep in mind, and what happens so often, is Doctor Who screwdrivers, lightsabers, all kinds of stuff that have LED lights in them. Our flash is really powerful. It's meant to light a group of like 6 people. So those little tiny LEDs run off of batteries do not have a chance. Same thing with phones. I've had a lot of people come in maybe with an iPad, and then they have like the photo of cousin Jeannie who couldn't make it, and they're holding their iPhone like this. This is actually going to come out exactly like this one looks right now, is a black screen. Even if you tilt it forward, the LED on here is just not bright enough to overpower the light. So if you need to bring a photograph of your cousin or whatever, bring it in paper form. Remember to print it off when you're at home and bring it in paper form, and then tilt it forward slightly and you'll get a really nice shot. Other thing that we run into all the time is little kids.
Babies.
It's fun, we get to do this, right? So if you're holding your baby and you want your baby to look at the camera, the natural thing is to look at the baby and go, look at the camera, look at the camera, look at the camera. And then sometimes the guest even kicks in and they're going, come on, look at the camera, look at the camera. Everybody's looking at the baby.
And not at the camera.
The baby goes, what camera? And then that would have been the perfect spot, except all the adults are looking down at the baby. So the way we like to deal with this is let the photographer get the attention of the baby.
Oh, we make fools of ourselves.
Oh, yes. We're happy to make fools of ourselves.
Well,
but if you're holding the child and all the adults are looking right at the camera lens, then that split second we have where the kid actually goes, what, that noise? Bam, we get that shot, and then the baby can look away again, and you guys go away with a beautiful photograph.
Yeah, we're quite loud. We're quite foolish. Yep. We'll sit there and go, cuckoo, 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 just to get the baby's or the young child's attention, and it usually works. You know, we'll whistle and they will look up, and it's great. And it's a much nicer picture having the baby actually look at the camera than having the baby looking at the guest. Sometimes doesn't matter how goofy we are. The guest is goofier, and the baby is much more interested in the guest, and just will not.
But you know what? We've had a lot of photos where the baby is staring right at the guest, and it actually turns out to be a really great photo. As long as the adults are looking at the camera, it's really a cute picture.
So. Something that just reminded me, speaking of babies, don't pass your baby to the guest.
Oh, yes. Okay. Sometimes the guest will ask for the baby.
Yes, sometimes the guest will ask for the child and pick it up, or ask for the baby and pick it up. But please don't just hand it over to the guests, because some don't want. There's a couple of big no-nos in photos. I know that some of our epic photo of the day may show some of these no-nos, but in general, that's because they were initiated by the guest.
Yes.
And that's totally different. Like I know, for instance, John Barrowman, he will do just about anything and drop his pants. So, but in general, the big no-nos are, please do not pick up the guest or ask to pick up the guest. Don't ask to be picked up by the guest. Don't have the guest jump on your back, and contrary, don't you jump on the guest's back. Don't ask to kiss the guest. And please don't bite the guests, okay? I know this sounds really weird. And for all the wonderful, wonderful little grannies out there, please don't grab the butts of our male guests, okay? I know we always laugh about this, but we've had this happen plenty of times, and it is funny to us, but when it happens for the umpteenth time to that guest, it is a form of harassment, right? So you wouldn't do this to a stranger on the street. And that guest, while you may know their characters, you don't really know that guest. And that guest doesn't know you from Adam, right? You're one of the fans, and they're grateful to all of their fans, and they try to get it to as many fans as possible. But at the end of the day, they don't know you. So remember, treat them like somebody that you really, really do like, but that is a stranger. And don't do things to the guests that you wouldn't do to a stranger on the street.
And one other thing, for the people that were commenting that they weren't able to get a really great photo because they only had a couple seconds, if you go to our Instagram page and you check out the most recent epic photo of the day, which is with David Tennant, and sorry, I don't know the name of the lady, but she got that picture in like 3 seconds flat. She brought in a Doctor Who bag. She put it on the ground and she said, climb in. And he jumped in, and then they both looked at the camera, and beautiful, epic photo. She's extremely proud of that photo. We think it's awesome. Yep. And it didn't take 10 minutes. So if you think about it and you plan it, okay, you can get an epic photo in just a couple seconds. Even in that 7 seconds
that you have.
Yep.
David Tennant is going to be in Montreal. So we're exceedingly happy about that. I personally am a huge David Tennant fan. I loved him in Jessica Jones, more so than in Doctor Who. And I stopped watching Doctor Who after he regenerated, just because I couldn't deal with not having David Tennant as Doctor Who. So yes, I'm fangirling a little bit. So we will have David Tennant in Montreal. And so for anybody here that's watching right now from Montreal, we will try to do our utmost to get everybody through there. We have a very limited amount of time to do him in. Actually, we have more time for him than we have for any of the other guests. But again, we don't oversell. So we have a limited amount of tickets per the times that we allocate for him. So if he happens to sell out, he will be sold out. So get your tickets as quickly as possible. And we will, if you do end up missing, because he has several sessions, if you do end up missing his first session, let us know right away, and we will try to accommodate you in a later session. But that's only the absolute emergency if you do end up, for whatever reason, end up missing his session. For him, we can actually move you to a later session or the next day.
Good.
Yeah.
What else is fairly common?
Does the moderator have any questions? No.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well,
any other common things that I can think of? Nothing.
Watch our Twitter feed for our epic tips. We've been putting in kind of like some of the most common tips that help you get a better photo. So please watch our Twitter feed. We'll be reposting those quite often and adding new ones. And also, you know, we like people to vote on our epic photos of the day. We're going to have an epic photo of the month for every month that we have conventions in. So keep voting on keep liking the epic photos, and the ones with the most likes actually win prizes. So plan your epic photo, get your epic photo, and should you be lucky enough to be posted as epic photo of the day, there's a very good chance that you could end up at epic photo of the month and win a prize as well.
And if you have any questions, just email us at support@epicphotoops.com. We do answer Twitter, obviously. We do answer Facebook, but if you email us, you'll get a more detailed answer per email. And it's always better media to contact us in.
Yep.
And that.
Thank you, Tatiana.
Thank you, Al.
Okay.
And
Have a
then
wonderful
we'll
afternoon,
see you
or
next
day,
time.
or evening, or morning, or whatever you are in the world. And
Yep.
we'll see you at the
Enjoy.
next convention.
Bye.